Okay, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to solve a system of equations by substitution, and I'm just going to work a few problems and then hopefully this will help you understand the process of this. So a system of equations is just more than one equation, and this one would be a linear system of equations because both of these equations are linear equations. Okay, so the first one I'm starting out with is y equals 7 over 2x minus 5, and then y equals negative 5. And this one is fairly easy because you can see here we already have this variable solved out, so y equals negative 5. And since y does equal this, I can take this negative 5 and plug it in for y in this equation, and then I would be able to solve for x. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this equation right here and I'm just going to bring it down, and then I'm going to plug in negative 5 for y. So I would have negative 5 equals 7 over 2x and then minus 5 here. Okay, let's get this down a little bit. And so now I'm just going to solve this equation for x. So in order to do that, I need to isolate this variable. So first of all, I'm going to add 5. This 5 right here is being subtracted. So I'm going to do the inverse operation and I'm going to add it to both sides. So I'm going to add it here and here. And what I mean by both sides is both sides of the equal sign. So I add it here and then I come over to this side and add it here. What you do to one side of the equation, remember that you always also have to do that to the other side of the equation. So right here, this negative 5 and 5, that's just 0, so we can mark that out. And if you look over here, this negative 5 and 5 is also going to be 0. So I have 0 equals 7 over 2x. Right here, we have a fraction and a variable, and in order, this is being multiplied, so the inverse operation for multiplication would be division. So I'd have to divide by 7 over 2, or the same thing as dividing by a fraction is multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'd multiply both sides by 2 over 7. So then I have 0 times 2 over 7 is going to give me 0. And this 7 over 2 times 2 over 7, any fraction multiplied by its reciprocal is going to give you a 1. So that would be 1x. So right here I have x equals 0. So now we started out with y equals the negative 5, and now we have that x is 0. So this is our solution to this system of equations. You could take these two values and you could plug them back in to see if they check out. And if they do check out to be true, then they would be a solution for sure to this system of equations. Okay, so now let's look and see, let's work another problem. Let's do (3x) plus 2y equals negative 15. And then our second equation can be 2x equals negative 18. Okay. So as you can see, neither one of these equations are solved for one of the variables, but we can look and one of the equations is going to be fairly easy to solve for one of the variables, and that would be the second equation. You see it says 2x equals negative 18. So in order to solve this, we could look and see this 2 and x are being multiplied, so we could do the inverse operation of multiplication, which would be division, and we're trying to get the x by itself, so we could divide both sides by 2, and we would have x equals negative 9. Negative 18 divided by 2 is negative 9. Okay, so then, now that we have what x equals, we can take this x and we can plug it in for the x in this equation. And then we would be able to solve for y. So I'm just going to rewrite the equation. 3x plus 2y equals negative 15. And now I'm going to write it again, but this time instead of putting x, I'm going to put negative 9. So I have 3 times negative 9 plus 2y equals negative 15. Okay, so 3 times negative 9 gives us negative 27 plus 2y equals negative 15. So now we can start getting the variable by itself. So first we can look at this negative 27. It's negative, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add it to both sides. So then these cancel, and I'm left with 2y equals, and this negative 15 plus 27 is going to give us 12, positive 12. And so then we can look here, and we have 2y equals 12. So we can do the inverse operation here and divide by 2. And we have y equals 6. So we have x equals our negative 9, and then we had y equals 6.